Yo, welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. We got a big show for y'all today. We talking boxing. You know we talking boxing. We got Byron in the building, schooling y'all. Before we get into this big time fight, make sure y'all go on Spectator Sporting YouTube page, subscribe, like, comment. We really appreciate it. Go on TikTok, run the numbers up, and if you in your car, go ahead and turn that Spotify on and listen to us then. In a big-time super welterweight bout, Vergil Ortiz, 27 years old from Texas, 23-0 with 21 knockouts, is also the WBC Interim World Super Welterweight Champion. Last fight won a unanimous decision against Israel Madrimov. Was going against Erickson Lubin, a.k.a. The Hammer, 30 years old from Florida, 27-2 with 19 knockouts. Last fight scored 11th round TKO against Jaron Boots Jr. And now we'll try to pull off the upset against the WBC Interim World Super Welterweight Champion. Adi, talk about this fight going forward. How does Vergil Ortiz come? This is a big fight for Vergil. This is a huge fight. This fight can shape the 154-pound division going forward. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Boots Ennis are playing their role in the latest episode of Who Ducked Who. Okay? But Vergil Ortiz is not the only man accusing Boots Ennis of being a duck. Devin Haney said that Boots Ennis...
Brian Norman?
Yeah, Brian Norman Jr. Even Teofimo Lopez has duck accusations against Boots Ennis.
He had crazy. Yes. He called you a duck. Something ain't right.
And that's the worst one. You duck Tia female?
Wow. That's what he said, okay? Everybody's lying on Boots. They just picking on Boots. But duck season will be over in early 2026 because Vergil Ortiz is supposed to fight Boots Ennis in a few months. I always say supposed to because you never know with boxing.
Golden Boy Protection Agency.
And so, now, however, Vergil Ortiz Jr. shouldn't even be thinking about Boots Ennis. He shouldn't even wear boots. Don't even put no boots on your feet, okay?
Don't even put...
Because...
Crocs, man. Put some comfortable Crocs on. That's all I mean.
Put some Crocs on. Don't put no boots on because Erickson Lubin is no joke.
There you go. Let's talk about it.
Do not look past this man. Ortiz has fought a variety of guys at the 154-pound division. The brawler style of the Ukrainian Serhiy Bohuchuk, the herky-jerky Uzbek dancer Israel Madrimov, okay? So he's fought, different styles. But Vergil Ortiz's power has been less effective as the competition has stiffened up, okay? In his first 21 fights, he had 21 knockouts. Mm-hmm. But in his last two fights versus Bohuchuk and Madrimov, he hasn't even scored a knockdown, okay? But he's very accurate with his power punches. He's a pressure fighter, and I love the way he finishes fights, okay? And I love how Vergil Ortiz has been, how he handled Serhiy Bohuchuk in the 11th round. He hurt Bohuchuk with a big left hook and right uppercut. And then versus Israel Madrimov, Madrimov was saved by the bell in the 9th round. It looked like Vergil Ortiz was trying to finish him off, but he was saved by the bell, okay? And Vergil Ortiz has the reigning trainer of the year, Robert Garcia, is a very good trainer. He's going to tell him a nice strategy on how to get this win. And Vergil Ortiz Jr., he should have some extra motivation and bulletin board material because the IBF sanctioning body made Erickson Lubin the mandatory challenger for Bagrar Murtazaliev belt, okay? Mm-hmm. So, but Erickson Lubin declined it. He decided to not fight Murtazaliev to fight Ortiz, and so Vergil Ortiz should be like, wait a minute, you think he's better than me? No, so that should be some extra motivation as he bypassed the Russian boogeyman for Ortiz. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Brian, what's your thoughts on Vergil Ortiz? Is he going against a tough opponent, Erickson Lubin? What's your thoughts?
Vergil Ortiz is very talented fighter, but he takes a step back after beating beating Madrimov, and now facing Lubin. I think beating Madrimov kind of set him up to challenge for a belt at 154. and it was available to him. But for some reason, Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn, they went and had a conversation, and they both decided to fight these, what they consider lower tier fights. Although nobody beats Eddie Hearn when it comes to lower tier fights. So we got Uzma Lima getting destroyed, but Vergil Ortiz takes the rougher side of the mountain and picks Erickson Lubin. You know, there's nothing bad to say about Vergil Ortiz at this point in his career other than when is he going to challenge for a belt. Him and Boots fighting is almost poetic justice, as both of them seem to be very hesitant to push themselves as far as it goes with their boxing careers. Vergil Ortiz has all the tools of your typical Mexican fighter. He has a chin, a vicious left hook to the body, and you know, that kind of peekaboo defense, and he just basically walks you down and tires you out and then finishes you in the championship rounds. But again, you have to bring up the fact that this guy has taken a step down after beating Madrimov. I think he beat Madrimov more handily than Terrence Bud Crawford did. And you can equate that to the fact that Madrimov was kind of compromised. He said he was sick before the fight. A lot of people got sick on that card. But at the end of the day, Vergil Ortiz, I thought he fought an entertaining fight with Madrimov. And once Madrimov slowed him down, you know, that jab, he's very good at cutting off the ring. I just thought he had a more impressive win than Terrence Bud Crawford. So kind of don't understand why he needed to fight this fight, but you know, I think Lubin does prepare him for a Boots fight. Just because, you know, I think he's not saying he has that switch hitting ability, but he is a southpaw. He has a really good jab. And so this is a good test before, you know, the test. But Vergil Ortiz, I really don't give this kid a lot of flack, because a lot of the bullshit in his career comes from Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya has lost so many of his nest eggs. You got Lion Garcia, you know, constantly going back and forth with him. And Vergil Ortiz is kind of like one of his last little babies. And he wants to hold him tight. He wants to not push him until he's the most profitable. But again, I think Vergil Ortiz's success is kind of taking him out of the original framework that De La Hoya has for his career. And it's time for him to start pushing for titles at 154.
Well, I will say that Ortiz was going back and forth on social media with the WBO champ, Xander Zayas. And he was trying to get a fight with him, but Zayas wanted to fight in his home Puerto Rico.
And Oscar didn't like it.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do that. So it seemed like he was trying to get a title with the WBO title. But
no, it's Oscar De La Hoya makes everything move over there. You know, I don't think Vergil Ortiz he's not yet the star where he can, you know, go to Oscar and say, look, I want this fight, make this fight. I don't care about the parameters. The crazy thing is, I think Lion Garcia had that with Oscar, or he allowed it. Maybe it's because Oscar kind of wanted him to lose because of their chaotic relationship. But I feel like Vergil Ortiz would have been better proven in his career to finally challenge for a belt. And Zayas is one of those fighters you want to get him now before he gets more experience, because the kid has so much potential, and he can turn into something that's unbeatable at 154. So the younger you get him, the better off you are.
I see them really not putting him in the fight against Zayas. They might try to hold off.
But the thing is, if you're Oscar, that's a more lucrative fight. Puerto Rico versus Mexico has always been a lucrative rivalry, you know, than taking this fight. But again, if you break down, a lot of people don't know Erickson Lubin. If you do know him, you know that he is a very, very tough competitor at 154. I wouldn't call him a gatekeeper, but I'll call him a very young, very high potential to be a future champion at 154. So it's a good fight. You know, either way, with the politics pushed aside, this is a damn good fight.
So speaking of Byron, speaking of that, Erickson, aka The Hammer Lubin, 27-2 from Florida, 19 knockouts. Last fight had an 11th round TKO against Ardrell Holmes. What's your thoughts on him as he tried to pull off this upset against Vergil Ortiz Jr.?
Lubin has a better resume than Crocs Ennis. And, I mean, this guy has Charlo, this guy has Fundora, and while they are the only 2 losses on his resume, I think both of those fights, you know, excluding the Charlo fight, where he was 22 years old and everyone was telling him, you know, don't push for a title now, you're too young. He you know, kind of pushes for that title anyway, even with Charlo saying this guy doesn't deserve to be here, ultimately knocking him out in the first round. But I always say on this channel, there are such things as good losses. And after that loss, this kid runs off 6 fights in a row where he wins and then fights Fundora in 2022, and it's a Fight of the Year candidate. He loses that fight, but I think in that fight he took the loss, but he got to win because he showed his toughness. He showed how game he is against a future champion at 154 because Fundora will go on to beat Tim Tszyu twice. And so he's proven himself at 27-2 with 2 KO losses, 5'11", a 74.5-inch reach. This guy is just solid. You know, if you look at him again, his southpaw jab is very fast, very crisp, and if he does everything behind the jab, he's gonna have a good night. But the problem is he's more toward the brawler side, and it's the one thing. If he can commit to boxing for 12 rounds, like he'll be dangerous. But he has this. He has to brawl. You know, he has a lead right hook that is very good, that gets him on the inside, but it seems like he can just throw that boxing out and wants to get in the pocket and wants to brawl. And I think in this fight, it will not pay him dividends to do so. He has all the attributes to be a future champion, very tough, and has former champions on his resume, but just hasn't yet kind of crest in his career with that big name or against that big name, because it seems like he only loses to the big name. So this is a big fight for him. This is not a fight that he's gonna, you know, kind of stand down and let everything play out so that this guy can go on and face Crocs Ennis in 26. He wants to face Crocs Ennis in 26, and he's looking for the upset in this fight.
Well, I would say Erickson Lubin, the thing is, Sergey Boguchuk is a brawler.
Yeah.
And he knocked down Ortiz twice.
Right.
So maybe Lubin is looking at that like, man, maybe I should brawl.
Right.
So
I just think with brawling, he becomes susceptible against higher competition. You know, I looked extensively at that Fundora fight, and I felt like if he would have attacked the body and had more movement, he had a chance to win that fight. But it was his willingness to go in and fight this man on the inside is what ultimately got him caught and what ultimately got the fight finished. So still a great fighter, you know, still a good fighter, and great fighters lose fights. It's boxing. It's what happens.
Yeah.
But I think the potential of this kid, if he chooses to box, makes him more formidable in the championship rounds. The thing is, he gets caught in the championship rounds. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see him box for 12 rounds.
All right, what's your thoughts on the Hammer trying to pull off this upset against Vergil Ortiz and stopping maybe the future fight of him against Boots?
Right. Be the spoiler. It seems like it happens all the time.
Yeah, it does.
But Erickson The Hammer Lubin is 30 years old. He has been in professional boxing since age 18. He's a number 3 WBO contender, number 5 WBC, and number 5 Ring Magazine contender. Erickson Lubin has a 4-inch reach advantage over Vergil Ortiz, and he will be the best southpaw that Vergil Ortiz has faced in his career. Okay, and Erickson Lubin is battle tested. Over 3 years ago, he fought against the towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora. He got knocked down in the second round, but he knocked Fundora down in the seventh round. But Fundora ended up finishing him off in the 9th round for the stoppage victory. But Lubin would bounce back. 2 years ago, he went ahead and fought a man who was currently the number 5 ranked WBO junior middleweight, and he's a number 8 Ring Magazine guy. Talking about Ramos Jr., Jesus Ramos Jr., who was 20-0 at the time with 16 knockouts, and he fights a similar style as Vergil Ortiz Jr., but he's a southpaw. Okay, and Ramos Jr. was pressuring Lubin in that fight. He was trapping him on the ropes. He was targeting the body and coming upstairs with some uppercuts and hooks, okay? But finally, after the 8th round, Lubin took the fight towards the center of the ring with some good footwork, jabs, and combinations, okay? And he finished that fight strong against Ramos Jr. But on my scorecard, it was too little, too late. I had that fight 116-112 in the favor of Jesus Ramos Jr. Okay, I feel like Ramos Jr. Should have won that fight, but he was robbed. The judges robbed him in a shocking unanimous decision, loss for Ramos Jr. Okay, so now after that fight, right after that fight, another fight almost broke out between Erickson Lubin's trainers because one of his trainers said, "You got lucky."
Yeah.
And so the head trainer and the other trainer was bothered. They had to break them up. They was arguing and all this and that. He said, "You got lucky. That was a lucky win and all that." And I agree with him. He should have lost that fight. It was a robbery, but he got the win. Okay. And so so after that fight, Lubin went in a 1.5-year fight drought, and he returned with a new trainer, Mark Ferrate. All right, and he just got this with his new trainer. He's got this KO victory over the 6'3" undefeated Andrell Holmes. That was under his new trainer, Mark Ferrate. So now that he's just turned 30 years old, we're trying to see if this trainer and this new ideology and strategy can, unlock his potential and he can be great. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see.
So now he got the new trainer, and now you see, impressive victory last fight against Holmes. Does he have a chance in this fight? Who wins this fight? Does Vergil Ortiz Jr. win this fight to go face Boots, or is this going to be a massive upset, Adi?
Well, Erickson Lubin has some very solid names on his resume. Iron Man Charlo, he lost to him. Terrell Gachet, he beat him. He lost to Fundura, but he beat Jesus Ramos Jr., okay? And so now, like you said, are we about to see this big upset? Now, Vergil Ortiz Jr., he's the #1 rated, Ring Magazine #1 rated junior middleweight, okay? At 154, he's #1, okay? So this will be a huge upset. Lubin has only 2 losses, both by knockout. He's going to get his 3rd knockout loss. 10th round knockout for Vergil Ortiz.
I love it. 10th round knockout. Adi say Vergil Ortiz is going to win this fight. Byron, do you agree with Adi?
Erickson Lubin is a very solid opponent, but the problem is he's facing Vergil Ortiz. And how I see this fight, I see Erickson Lubin being very successful in the first half of this fight. Vergil Ortiz is a slow starter. He's not a one-punch knockout artist, but he's more accumulative over time. So he's going to attack your body. He's going to slow you down. He cuts off the ring better than anyone at 154. And although I think Lubin will be very game to score the upset, and you would not be crazy to try to pick him for upset in this fight, because I think he can upset Ortiz. But I think what he needs to do in this fight is to basically not be a brawler for 12 rounds, because I don't think he can win in exchange with Ortiz on the inside. Adi picked Ortiz with a 10th round knockout. I'm going with Ortiz for a 9th round knockout. I think this fight doesn't go to 12 because Ortiz doesn't have a slow down button. Once he catches you, once he hurts you, he's not going to stop until he finishes you. And I think Lubin is going to be too in his nature to brawl. And if he brawls Ortiz, he's going to get finished, because this kid to the body with his chin, this is just not a fight I don't think he's going to lose.
Nah, definitely. Looking at this fight, I think Lubin the Hammer will bring a challenge. I think it will be some excitement in this fight. I think it's going to be a very entertaining fight. But I got Ortiz in a 12th round unanimous decision. I think Ortiz does score some knockdowns during the fight, but I think it goes all 12, and I got Ortiz unanimous decision. Can't wait though, but I am excited for this fight, and I feel like it is going to be entertaining.
It's a competitive fight. It's still, and it has to be said, there's no bias on this channel.
Right.
It is a step down. After Ortiz beat Madrimov, we should be talking about Ortiz against Murtazaliev, against Zayas. At some point, you have to go after champions, and that's just the thing. You know, this constant build up. All it does is feed these greedy, corrupt promoters. And unfortunately, I've said this before, Vergil Ortiz is a hell of a fighter, but he just so happens to be promoted by one of the most disgusting entities in boxing, and that is Oscar De La Hoya. Don't move my cocaine, De La Hoya.
And to your point, when you keep doing that, you run into the wrong person.
Yeah.
You run into the wrong boxer.
This is definitely a fight where karma, and if it happens, I will not be surprised.
Yeah.
But it's just, I will not pick this fight because I have been big on Vergil Ortiz, and I've said out of all of the fighters in De La Hoya's stable, Vergil Ortiz is definitely the one I like the most. I think he has the most potential. But I think De La Hoya is kind of holding him back. I don't think this is a thing where the fighter is holding it back. And, and I know some of y'all gonna say, "Oh, but Crocs in his Crocs." No, and this might sound crazy. But I feel like Crocs has more star power than Vergil Ortiz. I do, even though he's the Ring Magazine, #1 junior middleweight. I think Boots or Crocs has this stand-up behind him.
Yeah, he does.
And he's been on the coattails of a Crawford. He's been on the coattails of a Spence.
He's from Philadelphia.
And he's from Philly.
Yeah,
and he's from a big city. And he has a home venue.
He's very talented.
And he's talented. So it's like, I feel like he can basically pick his fighter where De La Hoya, you can tell he has the control over Ortiz's career. You know, Ortiz, just like you alluded to, with him going back and forth with Zayas, like he really wants to fight Zayas. But it's just like, man, why wouldn't you want to fight that fight in Puerto Rico if you believe in your fighter that much? Yeah. But different era of boxing, and I don't trust De La Hoya. I swear, I just don't.
Yeah, well, I would say, like, the way you want Lubin to fight this fight, like, make it a boxing match, like, be a boxer, don't brawl. He did that against Jesus Ramos Jr. in the championship round. Yeah. So he was looking great, but he didn't do it for the entire fight.
Right, and that's the only reason why I can't pick him, because it's just if I do pick him, I do expect a unanimous decision, but he would have to box Ortiz. And even with Madrimov, who I think Madrimov is a way better boxer than Lubin, he couldn't box.
He got tired.
And it's just
the first couple rounds, Madrimov was boxing,
right, and he was winning.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Vergil Ortiz is Frankenstein when it comes to walking guys down, and he doesn't stop. You know, you can hurt him. He's a prototypical Mexican fighter. He's got a chin. He take a licking and keep on ticking. He's not gonna stop coming forward. And when he catches you, if you get on the ropes, which Lubin has a problem getting on the ropes, getting caught on the ropes. And I think Vergil Ortiz's ring IQ and his ability to cut off the ring just makes Lubin a much further underdog than a lot of people will give him credit for. But he's still a bet. I still might throw a couple dollars on Lubin just because I think he can win this fight. But he has to do something that he hasn't done in his career.
New trainer.
And I don't think it's gonna happen. That's just me. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, we shall see. It should be an entertaining fight. This fight is definitely gonna set up future fights. You know, it's a lot of things gonna be said after this fight.
We either gonna have a good first quarter of 26 or bad.
You've been watching Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach, along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wiley. Shout out to Byron over here schooling them. Make sure y'all go on Spectator Sporting YouTube's page, subscribe, like, comment, run it up on TikTok, and if you're in your car, turn on that Spotify and listen to us then. In the meantime, in between time, we out. Peace.